Hello and welcome to the Cat Collective. I'm Nina, I'm the channel for this channel, and let's start. Today I'm shuffling the cards a bit longer, right? Illusion. Influence. Observation. Yeah. And insight. Okay. Oh, curiosity. I love that. Oh. I think there's something valuable in this card. I don't know. In every card there's something valuable, right? But I found myself just staring at this card, right? So, nature. Oh, fear. Masculine energy. Mao. Yep. Oh. Oh. So I tell you something, I couldn't sleep much longer after 7 hours, and now I'm sitting here and yeah, I'm making a reading, right? But like it's this, you know, when you have the feeling that you want to do something and afterwards you can maybe lay down again or something like that, you know? It's this trying to, it's the feeling of that's probably part of your message, is this trying to push through a little bit and then afterwards laying down, right? Again, the mirror. The mirror. Okay, so clearly this card, I love it so much. Look at this. If you are surrounded by people who are not a good influence in a way, right? The smoking. Then it's easier for you to do the same, right? Yeah, and it's this especially, I'm just getting, especially when you are someone who doesn't hang out with a lot of people, you know, when you just have a very limited social life, you know, especially then it is important who you let into your space in a way, right? Just because the impact of someone is bigger when, you know, when there's just let's say 1 or 2 influences, right? Then of course the impact of this, of one person is bigger than the other one. And that's so interesting because I just have the feeling, you know, this influence, when I this mirror thing here, it's about the maybe the focus of the influence is important, right? It's okay. So it could be that the messages are really slow coming in today. So clearly it is that you want to surround yourself with someone who is a good influence, right? With people who are a good influence. That's a focus that wants to be made with this card. But if you look at those cards, all of them have the light in it, right? And it's also that you will be led somewhere, I think, and it is just based on curiosity. And I'm really drawn to the colors, right? Because this is black and white. And the curiosity comes, it switches. Because for me, when I think about curiosity, I think about exploring Earth, right? Exploring the world. So exploring things outside of the house, right? But if you look at this, it's like exploring something inside the house. It's like a curiosity that maybe led you outside, led you also to the realization that you are actually wanting to explore something you can only explore in depth from the inside of your house. Which is interesting, right? Because one might think that you want to explore outside. But then I'm also drawn to this image here, and again, a mirror, right? Maybe you thought that what was outside was worth exploring, but something draws you back in. I don't really. It's maybe an insight. So and what does it tell you? I'm just getting this: when you are alone and you yourself are maybe not the best influence, right, for yourself. Do you know what I mean? It's this when you are alone and it can get also very noisy when you are alone. It's a noisy quietude. I don't know. Does this word exist? It's this maybe curiosity led you to run away from yourself in a way, a little bit, because this is consciousness, right? But now I'm thinking, okay, if you think about crows, right? Crows, they live outside and then they go inside, right? And that's curiosity for a crow, because a crow is usually located outside. And when they are interested in coming into our house, that's different. But now I'm noticing this beautiful wallpaper. It's really pretty, isn't it? If you think that consciousness, your consciousness, is your house, your head is your house, right? I think there's something that you want to explore in your head, and it is entering a room with colors, right? And suddenly this flips again, and this looks like another room in the house with wallpapers. Could be that this is, maybe this is not actually outside, but this is a wallpaper. Right? Could be. It's a little bit strange. Yeah, strange. Observation, well, and curiosity. I think it's interesting that those two cards come up together somehow. It's like trying to amplify the good influence somehow, because well, one might think a spider is a bad influence, right? And for me, a spider is not particularly a bad influence, but certainly, depending on the speed of the spider, it can also be fear triggering. It's the same. I think it has the same effect like mice for some people. When mice are running towards you or just in your house, you just get startled a bit, and then you're releasing it into nature. But there's also this nature, and what's that? It's this yeah, it's also exploring something else. It's this a path that is also somewhat, it mixes. There's so much going on that is coming from all different angles. It's very crowded, and it comes just together, and it's almost like every card on this table is another face or is another character somehow, right? But a spider's web is also a house, right? It just looks different, right? And again, it's curiosity that leads you to discover things, collect things. It's like when you collect stones, because this really looks like a jar of some sort of collections. And why is the word inside there? There are much more in this reading. There are much more questions in a way. There's much more confusion than the other ones, right? So it's like there's that you really try to find a good way, right? A good way, but now I'm getting a distraction that leads you to something, but this is also not the truth. It's like that this looks like a maze that you try to walk around in, but the maze transforms, and you just don't know what's the truth and what's illusion and which way to go anymore in this maze, because the maze is transforming. It's like this image. Is it outside? Is it inside? Does this crow live in this house already, in this reality, or is this crow coming from the outside just because it's curious? And why is this black and white if this is the outside? And The only thing that is certain is that you do not want bad influence. But what if bad influence is yourself, is you, your thoughts, your you, like your consciousness, right? What if this is the case, right? Because in a way, that's you know, when you have a mindset and it is just giving you a bad influence, right? Because you think to yourself that, for example, you cannot give up smoking. When in fact you can. It's the choice, right? And maybe you try to run away from yourself because you saw when you looked inside, again, when you looked inside, like inside, not inside, that you do have a dark room. And when you try to, you know, move away from the dark room in your own consciousness, it also misleads you. It's this feeling somehow, right? So it's this almost hard. It's almost this hard parenting that you give to yourself, because you say, you know, it's like you distract yourself with a ton of work just because you do not want to be surrounded by your own darkness somehow. You know, when you are distracted in this influence thing, when you are distracted somehow and busy, then it's easier for you to maybe control some things, right? It's with the smoking, you know. Let's say you, for example, you work in a non-smoking environment for 8 hours a day, right? It's easier to control yourself because you don't get to be tempted. Whereas if you would work somewhere where everybody's smoking and everything, right? Then you, or maybe even from home or something like that, then it's easier to slip back in those habits because you have more freedom of doing things. But aren't you also losing some freedom if you are acting in this kind of way that you force yourself into environments which are in a way also good for you, but also very tiring, right? Just to avoid your own influence, maybe. It's running away from yourself suddenly. Yeah, that's the observation maybe that you made about yourself. You know, we always learn more about ourselves the longer we live, right? So it's all about choices. and what to be happy with, you know. In the end, it is about seeing your true reflection, right? It's about really looking at yourself, and knowing and getting to know what you are, why you are acting in a certain way, right? And this is this nature card is very interesting, just because, you know, one might think that if we have complete free time, right, and no responsibilities whatsoever, right, you know, that we would feel better. But if you have noticed this in yourself, maybe when you are free somehow, you end up being more lazy, and you end up being too lazy, almost like never leaving bed, and not making the most out of your time, even though you have all the time when you have, for example, no job, right? This is the dark influence of yourself, because it is all based on the lack of discipline and searching to find the discipline in force from outside. Oh, no. Okay, so it's a slow process to find the key. And the key in this, the inside, if you look at this, is inside. It's you, right? If you see this going inside. And this is outside. I don't know. I don't even know what this is. Like, this looks so weird. And these are those stones or flowers or what is going on. But the thing is, I think what you do to yourself is this, okay, I'm gonna get myself something outside, you know, outside of myself that forces me to do things, because I myself don't have the strength or the, you know, the discipline to be strong and do it myself. You know what I mean? It's this inviting a friend over, for example, who forces you to go for a walk every day or something like that. Because if you were free, totally free and uninfluenced by anyone, you'd be sitting at home all day, right? And probably even smoking cigarettes and things like that, right? And therefore you search for things outside of yourself to force you into the right direction. It's just that there's something within it that is also dark, because the system might work for the time being, for the time as long as the system that you have set in place is valid, right? So, you know, for as long as your friend comes over and you go for a walk every day, you go for a walk. But if this friend has no time, or if this, you know, then it falls away and you don't do it anymore. And in a way, you do want a life that brings out the best in you without force, right? So that you are content within it. It's this, I think if you had the discipline for yourself, you could have a much easier life, right? because if you're waiting for outside forces to help you, in a way go through this, or if you are setting some structures in place to help you go through this, it's not the easiest path. I mean, you will get there anyways, There are tons of ways to get to a destination, right? It's like you have got choices. It's not like that, those they always remind me of choices, right? It's just that this turns somehow a little bit dark because you're running away from yourself and you are not facing the truth of yourself if you are doing this to yourself. And it's tiring also, right? It's this workaholic thing where you just work, just so you don't have to face yourself. Because you know that if you had to face yourself, you also have to face issues, right? Issues that you don't maybe have when you work. Which is, in a way, if it's again depends where you focus on. It's a win-win, right? If you work a lot, right? But on the other hand, if you were really true to yourself, and now I'm really getting sad, because if you were really true to yourself and you just bring the discipline to the table that is required to build up your personal dream life, it's like working for someone else as an employee, when you have all the talent, all the skill, everything, when you have everything that is required, right, to be someone, to make your own business, right? It's like, it's just, that's the insight, right? It says you have got everything that is required to do everything to achieve everything you want, but because you don't have the self-discipline somehow, well, and also it gets easier somehow to give away responsibility, like giving other people the power over you, so they say how your day is being structured, right? It's somehow easier because when you are all by yourself and doing everything yourself, you have to decide everything yourself, right? And I think a lot of successful people, or some of them, have just stumbled into success, right? And they still also need to find a way outside to make it work somehow, right? It's like studying something. Well, art is the best example, right? Studying art, even though within externally, right? You study art with art teachers, with this tie. It's like with art teachers and everything. And even though you could just make art and don't really need to study it, but it just feels easier to give away your own responsibility, and therefore, it's sometimes just refreshing to have people around you who tell you what you need to do, right? And especially, for example, learning an instrument requires a lot of self-discipline and willpower. It could be that you are at this point that you are very tired and that you have given up on things like that, maybe. Creativity, or just yeah, because it could be that you are tired. And you need to find a balance, right? So yeah, it's about finding a life that is natural to you. You know, where you can naturally achieve the things you want to achieve. Right? It's also like, maybe studying is the wrong example, because I personally, well, you gain the knowledge, but it really, really eats on your wallet, right? And that's the issue, you know, I always have with studies, because you shouldn't pay for education. And besides that, you can learn so much more if you have your own discipline of finding the knowledge somehow, right? It's this, yeah, being an independent cat, right? Finding the knowledge, because the knowledge honestly is out there. You don't need this to pay for this, right? So studying is in a way a wrong example. It has some tiny truth in it. It's just the example of giving up your power of organizing the knowledge somehow, right? Organizing the wisdom and everything yourself, because yeah. And also, well, you exchange money for a piece of paper, so yeah, that's what you do. And well, but for example, there's this workplace where you go somewhere to work, right? It's this yeah, you go somewhere, but you which means you have body movement. That's one thing that you maybe don't do when you're alone, right? And you earn money, like two good things, and you don't get tempted to consume nicotine, right? Or just cigarettes in general, right? So 3 good things. But on the other hand, you're also giving up things. The free time, the energy, maybe the energy to create yourself in a way, like, or to develop yourself, maybe. It depends how much you work, right? If you work just part-time, then it's different. But if you work full time with overtime, right? It shows you things, right? It shows you things about yourself. This avoidance thing. But what do we mean? What do we need to do? I mean, it's hard to bring the discipline to the table, especially when you get yourself in a dark zone and when you talk about 33 minutes like I do, right? Look at that. A new start is coming. Okay. Expect powerful change again. So, yeah, clearly, I don't think that you are giving up. I think you are just trying to steer yourself in a way with force into a way that where you can find a discipline, because it takes discipline too to get up and out and work, right? It's just that you have an external force also working with it. Yeah, it's a long way to reach an authentic, happy place, isn't it? Yeah, let's see who this reading is for. Virgo. Okay. Yeah, so additional info is in the litter box below, and see you next time. Bye bye.